right, welcome back. I'm not gonna do a quick intro because it's just really on my heart, and I just really gotta talk. I just really have to talk about Inuyasha. How Kagome really should not have stayed with Inuyasha, you know what I mean? First of all, even as a kid, I would look at Inuyasha and Kagome. Initially it was cool. It wasn't too crazy. But when his undead zombie girlfriend, ex from the past, who Loki almost killed him, came back into the picture, I was like, it's time to skedaddle. It's time to scoot. It's time to vacate the premises. I would have been out. As soon as his zombie girl came in, I would have been like, you know what? I'm finna head out. Okay? I'm finna head out. You ain't gonna have me competing with a whole dead zombie priestess. No. Okay? No. Okay, there's somebody in my class who comes and visits me every week when I lie about being sick. He comes every week with medicine. I got options. I mean, come on, think about even Koga. Koga loved Kagome. He was such a freaking Chad. Remember when he would come into the picture like, hey, Kagome. I feel like he would say, hey, Kagome.
Kagome.
I don't even know how he did it, but he just did it. It was like we were back in the CW, and it was like the OC or something. I don't know, but the way he spoke, I said, Koga is an option. Okay, she had options, and after the first time I watched Inuyasha, I really didn't like Kikyo. Like, when she came into the picture, I'm like, okay, die again, please. I'm like, okay. I realized that she didn't bring herself to life. It was Naraku. It was, his scheming. So. But, when I watched it the second time, I still said die again. But the third time it really hit different. And I really started to pity her. I was like, she's the loser in all the situation. And I don't mean that in an insulting way. I mean, like, genuinely, she has a tragic history. And I remember when and this is, a little spoiler for people who haven't watched the second part. But if you haven't watched it, I mean, it's kind of like, there's an expiration date for spoilers. And I feel like it's hit that expiration, The fact that we have Yashahime, it's like, no, actually, I take back that spoiler. So when Kikyo died, right, like, I was actually genuinely sad. I only watched the second part, like, recently. And recently, as in, like, the last 3 years, I watched the second part, like, about 3 years ago. And maybe a little bit over. But I was like, dang, I never had pity for Kikyo. And, if there was anybody who really deserved pity, it was her. Because she loved Inuyasha, and this Naraku dude who is trying to block their relationship, that's why you can't be nice to people. You cannot be nice to people, okay? This guy who was, like, joined with this guy who had, like, a thing for her, like, split them apart, and they, like, really loved each other. And so it's kind of tragic that she died, and Inuyasha, like, lost years of his life, and felt betrayed by somebody he truly trusted and loved. So, in a way, I feel bad for both of them, but mostly for Kikyo because she got to see him move on with, like, her reincarnation. I don't really know about the whole reincarnation thing, but I just know that, like, she's her ancestor. He moved on with the younger version of her, you know what I mean? And she has to still die. That's what sucks, So, I do have pity for Kikyo now. But yeah, I felt like Inuyasha, he was such a funny guy. Like, I actually really like Inuyasha. He reminds me of my dog. He's just such a tsundere, you know what I mean? And back then, like, tsundere, they were really endearing, you know what I mean? I think tsundere characters are still pretty endearing, but, like, Inuyasha was, like, peak, But once Kikyo came in the picture and he was like, alright, Kagome, I'm gonna head out. I feel like she should have head out, and she's like, you know what, your Uber is downstairs. She should have been like, she should have also matched the energy, but she didn't. She was like, you know what? I'm okay with being cheated on, Inuyasha, as long as I can walk with you. And and even as a kid, I'm like, ew. But it might even be like, I'm just laughing because I feel like this is not just the Inuyasha thing. I think it's the author. You know what I mean? I think the author, low-key, she promotes, like, some really unwise romantic decisions to be put as euphemistically as possible. Like, look at Sango, right? Sango is a hit. she's a catch. She's a catch. You know, she's from that period. She got the hands, but she's also pretty. She got both sides, okay? And I'll never forget. And when I was watching it like 3 years ago, I was like, I don't even remember this. This would have enraged 12-year-old me. I remember there was a scene when there was a king. I swear he was a king, y'all. Correct me if I'm wrong. There was a king who was in love with Sango and he proposed to her. Like, he was ready to make commitments. Meanwhile, the thing about Inuyasha and Miroku is that they are not commitment types. Like, do not wife them. Do not wife men like them in real life, ladies. But he was like really ready to put a ring on it. He had a really good heart. He had provisions. Like, come on now. Miroku was still, you know, copping feels on girls. And it's funny as a viewer, but in the show, I would have been like, Miroku, I would have been gone before you could say Shikong Jewel, basically. But, and you want to know something? I'm editing, and something just really sat on my heart. And it's funny how I totally forgot to mention that Miroku has a whole generational curse. Like, he ain't just perverted, but he has a generational curse. And it ain't no silly, you know, little thing. It's something that is deadly. Girl, you turned down a king with some generational blessings for a man that's perverted, broke, and he got a generational curse? No. And you know what? I just feel like looking back, yeah, I would rewatch the show, but I'm gonna leave that at the door. You know what I mean? I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna look at these characters like you thought. Anyway, let me know what you think. Oh, wait a second. I'm not closing out this video before I talk about Sesshomaru and Rin. Listen, this is something that really shocked me. When I was watching Inuyasha as a kid, I thought Sesshomaru and Rin had a father-daughter relationship. Y'all, when I saw Yashahime air, and I said, oh, Sesshomaru has children. Who is his wife? You know, who is the mother? And they said Rin. I said, whoa, like, what? I could not believe it. I cannot believe it. I was looking for people who had the same reactions. And let me tell you, it was hard. I searched long and far, hard. And I could not find people who agreed with me. It was very hard. People were like, oh no, like, Sesshomaru was like 19 and Rin was like 5. Let me stop. I don't know how old Rin was, but Sesshomaru was like, he had 10 years on her as a kid. And when you see them, you know, when you're watching Inuyasha and they're in that stage of their life the whole entire show, you're never gonna look at those two romantically. I hope. You know, I hope. But I'm wrong. I'm not even gonna say, but I hope I'm wrong. I know I'm wrong. I know. So, yes. So, you know, no shade to Rumiko-san. It's not for me. But anyway, you guys, let me know what you think. And stay tuned for my next video. I have a lot of things I want to cover. Stay tuned to Anime and Beyond.